All right, this is a crazy story also out of British Columbia where a Nanaimo mom is sharing these absolutely disturbing drug use info, I would call them promotion
Yeah.
cards that were distributed at her child's school event.
A
Um,
pride event.
of course, of course. The event was held at the Departure Bay Park, where a number of organizations had booths, and one booth, the AIDS Vancouver Island booth, stacked these information cards about using drugs such as methamphetamine, ecstasy, and cocaine. And then there's a video here included, and I note that around the 30-second mark is when they start zooming in and showing these cards. I don't know if
Yeah,
we could just maybe play.
I actually cropped it. I did a shorter one.
Attending this past
Oh, we
Tuesday.
got it on. There you go.
Always start on the lowest end and work your way up until you find your dose.
Wow.
It was organized by the secondary school's Gay Straight Alliance clubs and sponsored by teacher volunteers.
It was inclusive and happy and fun and safe.
It was held at Departure Bay Park with a number of organizations having booths. Taylor was
Safe.
dismayed to see the AVI or AIDS Vancouver Island booth stacked with these information cards about using drugs such as meth, ecstasy, and cocaine.
This is not harm reduction. This is the proliferation of harm. If you're literally handing out materials that describe in great detail how to do drugs to elementary school children, I mean, it's shocking.
Ruth Taylor is laying out the cards.
Yeah, that is, I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day. I would expect nothing less at some of these deviant celebrations. And so, yeah, the mom is bang on that this is promoting drug use and to elementary school children. I mean, not that it would be any better if they were high school.
Yeah.
But that is just craziness that we are here, that anyone thought that was appropriate. And no one spoke up actually at the event to say, hey, wait a minute, maybe we should not be displaying drug use promotional materials to children.
Well, she spoke up and she tried telling the adults at the table. And according to her, like they were just not really having it. They didn't really see what she was talking about. The school district has since come out and said, oh, sorry, we didn't know the materials are going to be here. That mom brought her 10-year-old to this event organized by the Gay Straight Alliance clubs and sponsored by teacher volunteers. So how many people walked by that table? Not to mention, was it teacher volunteers standing there at that table? She just says the adults at the table. I mean, this is sick. And it reminds me that in Nanaimo, this is the same place where they had the crack pipe vending machines outside of the hospital. There's a real homelessness issue there. I mean, there is in lots of places. And here they are giving out free crack pipes outside of the hospital to the point that drug addicts are going in, bugging the nurses, saying, hey, you're out of the crack pipes and I need to sell it. So can I get that back, please? Now we have these colorful, I mean, those pamphlets, the detail put into those pamphlets of meth and cocaine, I mean, is attractive to a 10-year-old and up. And in British Columbia, the number one killer is overdoses for 10-year-olds. This is sick. This is disgusting. I mean, there should be, criminal charges, in my opinion, laid on something like this. It's just so shocking. But again, not surprising, like you said, when it's at an event already targeting kids with inappropriate stuff to begin with, and when it's in British Columbia and Nanaimo.
Yeah, the British Columbia was really the pioneer in this idea of harm reduction and safe supply over the last 20 plus years, and we've seen nothing but failure and more harm and less safety. So, at what point do we throw in the white flag and say, "Hey, wait a minute, this isn't working, and we need to change of course"? I mean, I just pulled up this. I think it's from the '90s, early '90s, mid '90s. This commercial. This is the kind of thing that we used to tell children about drugs. If we could just play this quick 30-second ad.
Doing drugs does? Okay, last time.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs.
Just completely scrambled.
Any questions?
Go, Dad.
Simple. Simple. Drives the point home, visually compelling. You see that your brain is scrambled and you're like, okay, you know what? That doesn't sound very good for my brain. So I'd just rather not.
Yeah, and I can remember them also showing the before and after of like a really pretty young girl, and then she's all jacked up. And that was terrifying for me. It was like, I don't want to do that. No way. But as a mental health professional, which is what I used to do for this, I saw the language start to change, where you had, the socialist government encouraging this whole destigmatizing thing of drugs. And then you have agencies and charities that work with homeless people who struggle with addictions, then feeling like they have to change because why? Well, nobody wants to lose the funding. So that's it's all been pushed, and now everything is okay to the point that we are literally promoting drugs to children at a school event. So backwards.
Yeah, it's so disturbing to see how far we've fallen as a society when this is continually attempted to be normalized for children. And what kind of example are we showing our youth when they see this crime on the streets, when they see open air drug use, when they see people in various states of mental disarray and psychosis, and the adults aren't doing anything at all about it? And so this isn't setting a good example. And then they see this kind of material. They're exposed to it at school, places that are supposed to be, safe places where they're there to learn and trust authority and all of these things. And these children are being entirely misled down a very dangerous and dark path, when we could just bring back some good old fashioned shame and stigma and some prevention. And hopefully stop this proliferation of drug use and overdoses. And then I just want to point to this article that came out today. It's originally by the Canadian Press, but it comes from 650 CKOM. It says national data shows overdose deaths dropped in 2024, but still higher than pre-pandemic because COVID really unleashed a shadow pandemic of mental health disarray on the vast majority of the population. I mean, are we surprised? We told people to stay home and save lives and endlessly shutter and socially isolate, destroyed businesses, jobs, livelihoods, and then wonder why people, were suicidal or turning to drugs and alcohol to quell their stress. This comes, national health data shows overdose deaths. As I said, the toll still remained higher than it was before the COVID pandemic. And then a joint statement from the country's chief medical officers of health, chief coroners, and chief medical examiners say 7,146 people died of opioid-related overdoses last year. But one glaring thing that I note that this article is missing is the amount of people who just simply overdosed, because now we have naloxone kits at our disposal. And, the vast majority of people now seem to carry them because overdoses are so common. Is that I would like to know what the actual just overdose, not necessarily people dying, but just overdose rates were, because I can almost guarantee you that continues to rise, but people aren't dying of overdoses anymore because of naloxone. So big pharma creates the problem. Big pharma also supplies the cure. Every which way you look at this drug crisis, big pharma is laughing all the way to the bank. So this is a little bit misleading in my opinion. Yes, people might not be dying, but they are still overdosing. And I would say in numbers that are higher than each year previous.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA hats to introduce, well, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada great again.